How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks. We focus on one thing: always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about Lucid and as well as for SOFI. We see that Lucid did have some selling pressure on the day as far as the news that they released. We'll talk about that later. And we also have SOFI that's getting down to some key lows where I feel investors would be very interested. I'll talk about it further, but if you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know that we have timestamps down below inside the description, but I do value your time. And as far as for the overall market, you can see that we are having quite the pullback. So we want to see what these plays look like going into tomorrow as well. So let's get into those videos. So we're going to take a look at the chart for Lucid. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at $15.15, being down 6.31%. On the low, it tested $14.89, and then on the high, testing $15.85. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 27.108 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 14.114 million shares. So we had well above the average in regards to volume, and we also saw a pullback in the stock. Now, when we take a look at our chart, which is a daily chart, here's a few things that we want to pay attention to. So we could see that Lucid is trading below all of our major moving averages, which is a 50 EMA to 21 EMA, and as well as the 9 EMA. And as far as the drop that we had today due to the news that did come out, we ended up seeing a low at $14.89. So I was asked a question about what is the next level you want to watch. If you guys remember, what I said in my previous video was to look out for this $15.30 range. So knowing that we just broke through it, the next area where we could see some support, and I actually took a look at it on the 4-hour chart, could be right here around $14.26. And if we end up breaking through that level, that's where we can come down to the 52-week low at $13.25. So that is one thing that you want to be cautious about. And if you're an investor, hey, you still want to practice some patience because there could be some more opportunities like having a further dip. Now, if you're looking for a reversal now, Lucid ended up seeing a high at $15.85. So we know right away it would need to reclaim $16. If it could reclaim $16, then you'd want to see a move right around the 9 EMA at $16.48. If it ends up being rejected, then I can see it coming right back down to this $15.80, and there's more pressure inside of the markets, it will sell off even further. But in my personal opinion, and seeing the continuation of lower lows and as well as lower highs, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Lucid trading in the low 14 sometime this week. So we're going to take a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information for Lucid. So scrolling down on the page, green rows indicate new positions, while red rows indicate closed positions. So when we take a look at the recent filings we have here for the August 30th is a closed position, but we have some filings for the 29th. So we have BBVLX that purchased 1,544 shares, and we have SIMT Large Cap Index Fund Class that purchased 14,200 shares, and we have Bridge Builder Small Mid Cap that purchased 986 shares. We also have Bridge Builder again that purchased 41,248 shares. We have Vanguard that purchased 39,500 shares. We have Vanguard again that purchased just under 220,000 shares, and we also have Stock Index Fund that purchased 8,999 shares. And then for the last two, we have Bridge Builder again that purchased 47,804 shares, and that is about it. Now, when we take a look at the short interest, the off-exchange short volume ratio is at 61.12%, and then for the off-exchange short volume, it is just over 1.82 million shares. Scrolling down on the page, the short shares availability is at 250,000, updated 12 minutes ago, and then for the short borrow fee rate, it is at 7.41%. When we take a look at the history of the short volume, we can see for the close of the 26th, it is at 64.25, and then for the close of the 29th, being at 61.12. So it did go down a little bit, and then when we take a look at the short interest percentage of the float being at 20.86%, Lucid does continue to have short squeeze potential. So we're going to take a look at the chart for SOFI. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at $5.91, being down 1.50%. On the low, it tested $5.81, and then on the high, testing $6.13. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 36.768 million million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 59.098 million shares. So we had below average volume on the day, and we also seen a slight pullback in the stock. Now, when we take a look at our chart, which is a daily chart, you can clearly see that it is looking bearish, trading below all of our major moving averages, which is a 50 EMA to 21 EMA, and as well as the 9 EMA. And seeing that we have a continuation of lower lows and as well as lower highs, I did point out the level of 576. We did end up seeing a low of 581. So there's a strong possibility we could test this 576, and if we decide to break through it, that opens the door for SOFI to test right here at $5.15. And if it decides to break through this level, then the next area you want to see some support coming in is right at $5. I know many long-term investors out there are watching these particular levels, so keep it on close watch. And if we break down even further, that's where we have the 52-week low at $4.82. If you're looking for a reversal out of the play, we ended up seeing a high at $6.13. So if we can get that break above 613, you can see that I drew the line from the previous video. Watch 625. If we can get that break above 625, then we can see if we can make that move to the 9 EMA at $6.35. But again, that would be quite the reversal there. But from what I'm seeing from this chart, it looks like the downtrend could continue, but the bulls are looking for that bounce right off 575. So we're going to take a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information for SOFI. So scrolling down on the page, green rows indicate new positions, while red rows indicate closed positions. So when we take a look at the recent filings we have here for the 29th, we have FS Multi-Strategy Alternatives Fund Class that purchased 1,929 shares. We see a closed position. We also have Stock Index Fund that purchased 13,472 shares. We have Bridge Builder Large Cap Value Fund that purchased 37,853 shares, and we also see them again that purchased 24,100 shares. We have Vanguard that purchased 65,400 shares, and we have SIMT Large Cap Index Fund Class F that purchased 21,300 shares, and the others we have already covered. Now, when we take a look at the short interest, the off-exchange short volume ratio is at 37.59%, and then for the off-exchange short volume, it is just over 10.21 million shares. Scrolling down on the page, the short shares availability is at 10 million, updated 15 minutes ago, and then for the short borrow fee rate, it is at 1.12%. When we take a look at the history of the short volume, we can see for the close of the 26th, it is at 40.89, and then for the close of the 29th, being at 37.59. So it went down a little bit, and then when we take a look at the short interest percentage of the float being at 15.19%, SOFI does continue to have short squeeze potential. So for my final thoughts for Lucid and as well as for SOFI, let's start off with SOFI. So we can see, yes, it did have a pullback on the day, but it still didn't get to the level that we're looking out for, which is around 575 or 576. But do know, if we end up breaking through these levels, watch out for those next levels for the downside, especially if you are an investor. And if you're a trader, you can think about some opportunities whether you want to take advantage of puts. I also talked about what you want to look for in regards to reversal, and I know a lot of you can agree with me that SOFI needs to have some price action above $6 for us to say, well, you know what, things are starting to look good. So let's see what it does going into tomorrow. And as far as for Lucid, they ended up releasing some news in regards to doing an 8 billion shelf offering. So I know a lot of investors were not excited about this whatsoever, but it also doesn't surprise me either. We are going into a high inflationary environment, and they do have a cash burning business. So when it comes to volatile growth plays like these, it's to be expected. But one of the things that we have to look out for, they said that, you know what, they will not be doing any dilution in the near term. So we want to make sure that they stick with that, especially considering the current price of where the stock is trading at. It wouldn't make any sense either. And as far as for the price action, since we did break through that key level around $15.30, and then I saw towards the end of the day, we were having some resistance at that level, we could see some further pain where Lucid could be trading in the $14 range. It did see a low around like $14.89, but it could break through this level, especially if we continue to see a pullback in the market. But again, for all of my investors out there, the fact that it's getting very close to that 52-week low, and if it does get there, do your homework and figure out whether this play would be right for you. But I also want to remind you guys, we are also going into the month of September, so we are going to be having a lot of volatility. And usually since September is the worst month for the stock market. I want to make sure you guys are prepared so you have a full out strategy when it comes to these plays, whether you want to be trading the calls or whether you want to be trading the puts. So I hope you found this video helpful, and I'll be talking to you guys tomorrow.